Welcome to the Bring Your Product Idea to Life podcast. This is the podcast for you if you're getting started selling products or if you'd like to create your own product to sell. I'm Vicky Weinberg, a product creation coach and Amazon expert. Every week, I share friendly, practical advice as well as inspirational stories from small businesses. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to this episode of Bring Your Product Idea to Life. So today I'm speaking to Liam Bryan from Freecolts. So Liam helps brands recover revenue lost on their marketplaces, as well as helping brands expand onto new marketplaces with ease. So Liam works for an agency called Freecolt, and they have a range of e-commerce tools that are really useful to e-commerce brands. So I've invited Liam on today to tell us a bit more about the tools that they offer, who they're helpful for, what kind of results people can expect to see. I have lots of questions. You'll hear I try and ask everything that I think you might be asking. If I've missed something, if you get to the end of this episode and you think, oh, there was something I wish she had asked Liam and she didn't, I'm going to put his details in the show notes. You can contact him and follow up as well. But I hope you find this episode useful, and I'd love now to introduce you to Liam. So hi Liam, thank you so much for being here. So can you please introduce yourself, Freecolts, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Liam. I'm a senior partner manager here at Freecolts. Freecolts is it's a business that has a variety of different products, all in marketplaces. So we help brands in different areas of their marketplaces, whether it's expanding onto new marketplaces or recovering revenue for them from their current marketplace that they work on.
Amazing, thank you. So the reason I invited you on here today is obviously my audience are all online sellers, so hopefully some of the tools you offer might be of interest. Could you start by just giving a quick overview of some of the tools that Freecolt offer?
Yeah, so one of our tools is called Margin Pro. So Margin Pro is a revenue recovery tool. So what that basically means is we can work with your current marketplace, mainly Amazon. It's now going into TikTok as well. So what we do is we do a completely free audit for the company. We go back up to 2 years. And we can look at any revenue that we can recover for them, whether that's in invoice reconciliation, overbilling, shortages. We bring all that to the table on a free audit. You can then review that, take a look, and then should you want us to go ahead, we then go ahead, we deal with Amazon, we make all the claims, and we put the money back into the brand's bank for them or the brand's vendor account for them. And that is a complete success-based fee. So we only ever take a cut when money's gone back into the brand's banks. And then on the flip side, we've also got one called SaidCommerce. Now, SaidCommerce is a marketplace expansion tool. So what that allows brands to do is using one source of truth, whether that's a Shopify store or an Amazon store, grow and move onto new marketplaces very, very easy, very, very quickly. Whether they want to go onto Shein, Temu, TikTok, Walmart, Target, whatever the new marketplace may be, we can help that and eliminate a lot of the work for them.
That's amazing, thank you. I would love to ask you some more questions about Margin Pro. So what are some of the ways that Amazon sellers, let's talk about Amazon specifically, are losing money that where they might not be aware of it? Because this was fascinating when you explained this to me, like all the money that Amazon might owe you. So tell us what sort of things they might owe you money for.
So as I mentioned, it very much depends on the type of brand and the type of business and how it's all set up. But it goes into the normal buckets of either invoice reconciliation or overbillings or shortages when they've been delivered to the Amazon warehouse. So we go back, as I say, up to 2 years to look at all of these different areas. They're not, as I say, they're not told to the brands on what they're owed and what they may be owed, because obviously it can't be quantified by Amazon, and they're not going to obviously say if there's been an issue. So it's up to us or brands themselves to go to them and try and do the audits and look at what it is. So as I say, it moves into the sort of buckets of invoice reconciliation, overbillings and shortages really that we look into. And then they all are completely different depending on the brand and depending on the way the brand's set up.
About things like lost stock or returns that don't make it to inventory, does it include things like that as well?
Yeah, so that will go into the shortages bucket. So, for example, you could say that you've sent a pallet of 100 pieces of your inventory to the Amazon FBA warehouse. They could then come in and say, oh, we only received 80 of them, and signed it off and put them on the shelf. So there's your shortage already of 20 pieces. And that can build up, as you can imagine, over time. Not saying that happens every time you send something into Amazon, but there could be an issue there. But yeah, things like that, they go into the different types of buckets. Invoice reconciliation is a big one at the moment. So brands aren't aware of the issues that they may have on that side as well. So as I say, we bring these to the table on potential revenue that can be recovered, and then we can make the claims for them for Amazon for that.
Amazing, thank you. And the missing inventory one is one that's really interesting because I think a lot of sellers don't realise if they're using Amazon shipping to send the stock in, which most people do, to be fair, because it is
Yeah.
generally quicker.
Mhm.
I've often in the past seen those discrepancies. Like you say, it's not every shipment, it's not all the time, but there is often the odd one or two. I had no idea, and I'm sure most people listening had no idea that you could actually
Mhm.
claim that back from Amazon. So they're liable, are they, if you can prove you shipped it and they don't receive it all?
Absolutely, yeah. If you can claim on what you've shipped out and what it's been sent, and then what they've signed for, they'll show what they've received. Then there's a discrepancy there. There's liability there that we can then look at and try and claim back for the brands.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No
So,
problem.
how does an Amazon reimbursement claim work? So, let's say you spot some issues in a customer's account. What happens next?
So how it would work from start to finish is, as I mentioned, we'll run a completely free audit. So we go away. It takes about a week, and as I say, we go into up to 2 years back on all the different areas. We'll then come back and we'll present the audit to brands. Now, again, this isn't no obligation to take us up on making the claims. But from that point, at the moment, we've got about a 93% success rate with regards to converting into people wanting us to take on the claims. So from that point, if they say yes, fantastic, we want you to go away and make them claims. We go away, we speak to Amazon, we make the claims for Amazon, and then when we're successful, we put the money back into their account. And only at that point do we then take a cut. The first claim, once you've said yes, once we start making the claims, you can see money coming back into your account within around 48 hours. The first successful claim could be made. So from 48 hours onwards, you'll start seeing money going back in. It won't go in one chunk. It will go in smaller amounts, depending on the different types of claims and the different areas they are. They can take different amounts of time. So it won't just be one chunk going in, but there'll be different claims going in at different times. And as soon as we win the claim, we just put it straight back into the brand's account.
That's brilliant. Thank you. So you're making these claims on behalf of the brands.
Yeah.
Are all claims compliant? Are there any types of claims that can put your account at risk? I'm asking this for anyone who's listening, thinking, "Well, I could just do this myself." Is there a right and wrong way to go about making claims, and are there any that you can't make?
Um, so, so basically, it's two questions there. On the side of compliant wise, nothing that we do will put your account at risk. There's nothing that we will do. We've worked with some of the largest blue chip businesses in the world, have worked with us to claim back from Amazon. So there's no issues there, and we're a partner with Amazon as well. So they're aware of what we do and aware of us. And on the side of, can brands go and do this themselves? Absolutely. This is something we're not new to it. We're not the only people that do it, and people can go and do it themselves. But what we do is the amount of depth we can go into, and how far back we can go, is it takes a long time for people to manually do that. So what with the technology that we use, we can do that, as I say, within a week to do the audit. And I have spoken recently to brands that have tried to make claims from Amazon. They found certain maybe shortages, like excuse me, like you mentioned. There may be shortages. They want to go and make the claims themselves. It can be a minefield, and it can be quite hard, and it can be quite time consuming to go and speak to Amazon and make these claims. So we just take it all off your plate and work in the background while you're carrying on doing your day-to-day work and working on that marketplace. We'll work in the background, and we'll do all the work and the claims for you. So yes, absolutely, you can do it yourself, but it's quite time consuming, and it can take you away from the normal day-to-day stuff that you want to be doing. So that's the reason why we're quite successful, and we've got a lot of brands working with us.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's similar to some of the work that I do for brands. So, for example, I might work with a brand who's got an issue on their account or with a certain listing or something.
Yeah.
And yes, everyone could go off and do this themselves if they want to. But like you say, it's the time. And also, let's face it, dealing with Amazon is so frustrating.
Oh, it started out with everything in life, isn't it? Like you say, Vicky, we can probably do most things, but it's just the time it takes, the issue it can take. I want to go and build an extension. I'm sure I could go and learn how to build myself an extension, and it will take years to do, or I can get a professional in to do it, and it'll take a month or two. So it's all about saving yourself time and making yourself more efficient, and doing what makes your business tick, and what earns you money. And this side of things is the stuff you don't want to be doing. So let someone who can do it and do it quick is always the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, it frees you up to do the stuff that you need to do as well, because you could
100%.
spend all your time doing this sort of boring
Yeah,
admin,
it could take up
which
all.
it
Yeah, yeah, it could take all your day up.
definitely. So, roughly, how much can a typical brand expect to recover from Amazon? So, what sort of size claims are you seeing?
So you could recover. So on your initial audit, you can recover 1 to 3% of your yearly revenue. So there can be quite large amounts coming back. Now that will be on the initial first audit. So as I said, we can go back up to 2 years. So how that will work is we'll do that one, and that'll be a large chunk. As I say, it could be up to 3% of your yearly revenue in revenue recovery there. But we also then run a quarterly background audit for you as well after that. So again, you don't have to know about it. We don't have to do anything, but we will just run the audit for you, and we'll flag up to you if we find another discrepancy somewhere within that quarter. So they won't be obviously a lot. They may not be a massive amount, but we're just making sure from the point onwards that you're not being overcharged, you're not being, nothing's been taken away that shouldn't be again. So we run that in the background every quarter as well for you. But as I say, the first one can be up to 1 to 3% of your yearly revenue.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No
And
problem.
is there anything a seller needs to have in place before this is worth looking at, or do they need to be of a certain size or doing a certain volume to make this worthwhile?
Um, I mean, it needs to have ideally that obviously the bigger the brand, the more money you can return. So a good volume, a good amount of volume going through your store would be good. It's not, there's no specific number. We'll take a look and we'll try and work with and try and help as anyone we can. But typically, if you're going to be a typical one, it's normally around about £1 million through their marketplace a year. But we can look at everything under that as well. But it needs to just have some good volume going through their store to make it worthwhile for us to find the claims, to make the claims worthwhile for us to go away. Because obviously there is manpower needed for everything we do. So if we're going to return £400 for you, it's not really going to be worthwhile anyone doing it. So just a good amount of volume, and obviously after 2 years. So being on the marketplace for over 2 years would be needed as well.
That's really useful. Thank you. Now, is there anything else at all you want to let us know about Margin Pro before we move on? 'Cause I'd love to ask about said commerce as well.
Do you know what? With Margin Pro, what I'd say is I get this a lot in people saying, what's the catch? And honestly, I can't stress it enough. There's no catch. It's simply a free audit. Take a look. You can see what you're owed. Now, just so everyone's aware, you'll see it on an audit if we were to do an audit for anyone, but it'll be a lump of money that we've found, but we don't claim we're going to win every claim back, because you won't do that. It's impossible. So we'll put another figure within the audit to show this is what we're confident we're going to win for you. And then that's when we go away and make the claims for them, that sort of money. So, as I say, there's no catch. It's simply a success-based rate. If we win money for you, we take a little bit of a cut from that. But other than that, it's a free service to get the audit done. So it's worthwhile
And
taking a look.
yeah, thank you. It makes me so honest about that as well, because are there some sorts of claims that you just know from experience you're just not going to get back?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, you'll see on an audit, but there could be £300,000 worth of discrepancies that there may be, but there's certain claims that aren't worthwhile doing, or we know we're not going to win. So we always put, we could say 300 grand's owed to you. We're going to go and claim that back, which basically is right. But like I say, there are certain claims that we're never going to win from Amazon. It'll take too much time, or we just won't have a chance to win that claim. So we like to put a realistic number in there as well to show this is what we're going to get back. So it's just more of it just shows that we're not trying to fleece anyone, and we're not trying to make a bigger claim than we can't do, because there's nothing worse than being promised something and you get a lot less. So we just try and be upfront and honest as possible.
Yeah, that's really useful. Thank you.
No
So let's
problem.
talk a little bit about said commerce. So can you give us an overview of that and what it does?
Yeah, so said commerce is, as I say, it's a marketplace expansion tool. So we use a single source of truth or a single data source. So that could be an Amazon store um, or a Shopify store. And what it can then do, it can open up new marketplaces for brands, make them compliant, make them optimized, link the price and link inventory, everything you need to do to open up a new marketplace, but do it quite seamlessly and quickly, rather than the manually trying to have to put things through and write each listing out, optimize each listing for each marketplace. So it just takes a lot of manpower and a lot of effort away from going onto new marketplaces.
Okay, so does it pull through like the listing text and the images and all of that?
Yeah, so it'll pull through listing text, images, but it also make them optimized for each channel. So we know each marketplace, which is annoying for us, is all everyone's different. The compliance and the optimization of each marketplace is completely different. So we make sure that it's optimized. If it's on TikTok Shop, it makes it optimized for that compared to Amazon, which makes it optimized for that. We make them all compliant. We link them all as well. So from that single source of truth. So it just takes a lot of manpower away from having to manually put all of your details and all of the listings into each marketplace.
Perfect. And then I guess, does it sync up your inventory and things like that as well if you're sort of
Yeah.
doing your own
So
fulfillment?
yeah. So it can link everything. You don't have to go in and manually copy and paste into a different marketplace to make sure that the stock's gone down, to make sure that the orders are all synced going into one, if it's a WMS or into your 1 3PL, whatever it may be. It's all linked together to make sure that everything is all the same, so you don't have any discrepancies again with potential stock problems or pricing issues or anything like that.
Oh, that's really useful. So because I guess you've worked with lots of brands who've used these tools, what are some of the mistakes you've seen brands make when they're trying to expand beyond their initial marketplace?
I'd say they treat every new channel, so they treat it as a copy and paste from their best one. So if you're on Amazon and you're going on to Shein or Temu or TikTok Shop, they believe it's a copy and paste job, and it's not. Every new marketplace has a different buyers, different rules, different content. We know that TikTok Shop is more of a discovery led channel, whereas Temu is more of a price led channel. We know what Amazon customers are, so every single channel has a different customer base, different way it's found, different discovery methods, pricing. So making sure that every channel is individual for that brand is something that they don't understand, and they underestimate it. So, the 2-day operation, they look at the inventory, the orders, the returns, the listing errors. They don't think of this side of things when they open up new channels. So, it's something that, they just think is a copy and paste job, and it's really not.
Okay, but says Commerce would do that for them, so it would optimize what they had on, say, Amazon and make it suitable for TikTok, as an example.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll make sure that the listings are optimized for TikTok. So it's a discovery led channel. So we make sure that they're optimized for that. Whereas we know that Temu is more of a price led, and the customers on Temu are all about pricing. So we make sure it's optimized for them people to find it, and so forth. So we make sure it's all right for each channel.
And so, with that in mind, would you have to sync all of your products, or can you choose to leave some? If you see what I mean.
Yeah, you choose the listings that you want to come from your single data source. So if it's from
Oh,
say
perfect.
Shopify, you can make sure that whatever listings you want to put onto these are the ones that you want. So yeah, you can make the choice on that side.
Yeah, because I was just thinking there might be some products that wouldn't be a good fit for TikTok Shop, for example, but would
Of
do really
course.
well on Amazon or Etsy.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And is it just the UK, or do you offer US marketplaces as well?
We offer US, so our two main ones in the US at the moment are Walmart and Target. So they are two marketplaces that are available in the US. Obviously, you've got Amazon already out there, and you've got eBay that you can use out there as well. But the US centric ones are Target and Walmart.
Thank you. And have you got any advice for how brands can decide which channel to expand into? Or do you think that's different depending on the brand and the product?
It's all dependent on the brand. I'd always start with where your product has demand. So don't look at which channels are trending. Don't look at which channels are the biggest. Always look at where your product has demand, because that's where you're going to find a success. You know, um, who buys your product? Where are those buyers already shopping? That's the key, rather than, we know that TikTok shops, which it is, it's really good. It's growing massively at the moment, but you need to make sure that you've got customers that are going to be on TikTok Shop to find you, rather than, you might be perfect for Temu because you're much more of a price led side of things, like I mentioned. So make sure that you've got demand on the channel before moving on to that certain channel.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I guess there could be a temptation to just be absolutely everywhere if it's that easy,
Hmm.
but that might not
Yeah.
be right for you. Yeah.
No, you need to make sure, as I say, don't go with the trend. Go with where your demand is, where you already have some demand, or you've done some research and you know there are customers on that channel.
Thank you. What about brands where their product ranges change a lot? So, for example, I work with some brands who might do a small range and then that range is retired and then they start a new range. Does that still work for said commerce?
Yeah, that's not a problem. So it's normal. Changes is normal. Um, we find that all the time. Everyone has different. There's seasonal. So fast moving products, fashion, whatever it may be. It's probably better for that because we take away all that manual work. So I'd say that a small catalogue of 10 SKUs that very rarely change probably don't need said commerce. You're not going to need to use us. If you've got a 5,000 or 10,000 SKUs, or you've got constantly changing catalogue of products, that's where we come in, because we take all of that manual work of you having to put them onto relist them onto each marketplace. We can just do it from that single data source. So without a doubt, that's probably where we would come into our own and be a worthy tool for you to need.
That makes sense. So if you've got a small fixed range, so like you said, you've got 5, 10 SKUs or something and they don't change very often,
Yeah.
sounds like said commerce might not then be the
It's,
best fit.
we can. Of course we could do it, but I would suggest no, because you could go onto TikTok Shop and put them 10 listings on and make them optimized. You can then go onto Amazon and do the same. You can go onto Temu and do the same. So you don't need us for that because it's such a small amount of work. It's when it's the higher ranges or the more fast moving ranges, or as you say, the changing ranges, is when you want to be able to put it onto one data source that they then push it out onto all the others quite easily and make them optimize that way.
That's useful. Thank you. Are there
No
any
problem.
other types of brand or products that said commerce wouldn't be a good fit for?
No. I would say the only thing, as I mentioned, is that I would say that you just make sure that you've got the need for us. Product wise, no, there's no product that's a problem for said commerce, but you just need to make sure you've got the right channel for your product, the right customers are on that channel, and also that you've got a large enough catalog for it to be worthwhile using a tool like said. So the smaller moving, low SKU catalogs, like I say, is not a massive point of it, but anything more, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, there's no actual product that wouldn't work, we've said.
Okay, even like customized products or personalized products, do they still work?
Um, yeah, because you've still got the listings there. So the listings, if you've got listings on your Shopify store or on your Amazon store that you want to move out and that they work, and you can do it onto the other channels and they work. You've done the research and they would work on them channels. Then as long as they're in your Shopify or Amazon store, we can push them out and optimize them for each marketplace, no problem.
Perfect. And is Etsy one of the marketplaces you offer or not yet?
Etsy, I believe, is in beta testing at the moment, so it
Oh,
will
that's
be.
good.
Yeah, I know it's on the roadmap, so I think it's been testing at the moment. So we're always expanding onto new marketplaces. We always want to grow the marketplaces. I believe there's about 12 at the moment, and it's always growing. We always want to make sure there's more and more. So it gives you a lot more offering. But at the moment, yeah, Etsy is one that will be available.
Oh, that's exciting. Um, is there a point, because you mentioned like you do offer a lot of channels, is there a point where you think expanding to too many channels can become a bad idea? Because yes, the tech's there to make it possible, but from a brand perspective, do you think there's ever a time when actually that isn't the best thing to do?
Yeah. So the tech just removes a technical ceiling. So what we do, it just removes all of the tech side of things. The operational ceiling is still there. And so more channels isn't always the goal. You need well-run channels. That's the main thing. So we don't take away the need for the brands to still do the operational side, whether it's on the return side and all of the customer experience, customer expectations, reviews, everything like that. We don't deal with. So the more channels you put on, the more operational work that's going to be there. So I would 100% say you still need to think about it. The more channels is not always the best. I'd rather have 4 channels and 4 marketplaces that are working perfectly than open up to 12 marketplaces that work bad. So, without a doubt, we just take away the technical ceiling. So you still need to do your research and make sure that your customers are there and know that your operational work will still be there for each marketplace. You might have support side, returns, compliance, reviews, customer expectations, whatever it may be. So there's a lot still of work still to do for each marketplace.
Thank you. So if someone's listening and they've only ever sold on their own website, what do you think
Yeah.
they need to think about before they move to any other channel?
So if they've only ever sold on their own website and they want to go onto a marketplace, probably the main thing I would say is going from your own website to a marketplace is you do have a shift in control. So it's not just the sales channel, but with your site you've got your own rules. You can optimize it. You can make whatever you want to do on your site. But then when you go onto a marketplace, it does swing slightly, and you've got to abide by the rules of that marketplace. So just know that you're going to have a shift in the control, but it does open you up to a whole new load of customers that may not have found you before. So there is swings and roundabouts, as I like to say, but without a doubt, just know that there are going to be a lot more rules, a lot more issues potentially in place at the start, and your control will slightly shift with regards to this and the optimization side of things. So just bear that in mind. But like I've always said, marketplaces are such a great tool to use. If you use them right, they can blow your business up massively and get you in front of the right people quite quickly.
That's really useful. Thank you.
No
And
problem.
we're almost there, Leo. I know I'm firing questions at you, but I'm
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
think of
Please,
everyone
please.
listening and what they're going to ask me.
That's all
Um,
right.
do you have an example of a brand that used their commerce to expand onto new channels and how that looked in practice?
So it's always all of the brands that do it. The shape is almost always the same. It's strong on one channel, and it's sitting on a catalog. We have a lot of them that sit on a single catalog. They're sitting on one channel, and they want to sell. Could sell elsewhere, but it's the manual work that stop them. Like I say, so I'd say there's not just one. I'd say 90% of the people that you said are like this. So we just bring in the connector and we open it up. So that blocking of the manual work and the time wise is what we take away and what we've seen. So we've been able to open up, let's say, for example, we opened up an Amazon seller and they've gone onto a TikTok shop. They've seen that their discovery lead is perfect for their product because they're a wellness brand. That works really well on TikTok. We know the customers are there. So, we've just taken away the manual work of having to put all of their products on TikTok shop, have them make them optimized, have them make the listings compliant with TikTok because we know there's other rules compared to Amazon. And it's opened up a whole new world for them and given them a lot more visibility within that world. Again, the same with every other marketplace that you want to open up to. As long as you've done the research and your customers are there and we know it's the right one, it'll work really well and it'll just take away the manual work. So as I always say, we are the technical fit. We take away the technical seeding. The operational side is still there for everyone, but
Yeah.
we get you on there and get you visible. And that's what every single person that has worked on said has done.
Ah, and how quick is it? So if someone were to whenever I say this afternoon, but whenever they're listening, think, "Oh, I'll give that a go," and they get it all connected, how long does it take to get set up on a new marketplace?
Um, Very much dependent on where you are, your size of your catalog. We would have a demo call first with myself and the said team. Go away if you, as I say, if you wanted to go ahead, like you mentioned, dependent on it, it could be up and running in a matter of weeks. It's just dependent on the size of the catalog, really, on what we're going to be doing. There are different price brackets as well, obviously, depending on the size of the business and what is going to be needed by that business as well that we would go into and giving you the different time scales and things. But I would say on average, probably a few weeks for that to come in and you'll be up and
Oh,
running on the marketplace.
well, that's pretty quick. Thank you.
That's all
And
right.
I've got one final question, Liam, before we finish. So, if someone has listened to this episode and they do
Yeah,
just one thing after listening, what do you think that should be?
good question. Um, other than either have a demo with us or a free audit, I would say pick the one channel for your product that has a real right to win on. So get your catalog right, clean it, make sure it's clean, show up on that one channel, and make sure that's done right before you do anything else. Because as I say, one channel running perfectly is better than 5 channels running badly. So start on that point and make sure you're happy with that before you go into anything like said commerce or before you look at any other marketplace. Make sure that you've got the one channel that you've got the right to win on, and then do your research on where your customers are and where your product is a right fit for before looking to expand onto that. Just don't rush,
That's
I'd say.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. Thank you. And if someone
No
does want a
problem.
free audit or they do want a demo, I'm going to put your information in the show notes for this episode so people can find you, get in touch and request that. Does that sound good?
Fantastic. Yeah, no problem at all. I'm always available.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for that, Liam. That was
No
really,
problem.
really interesting. And yeah, we'll put all your details in the show notes for anyone who wants to find out more.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me. And as I say, I'm always here if anyone needs anything.
Thank you so much for listening right to the end of this episode. Do remember that you can get the full back catalogue and lots of free resources on my website, vickyweinberg.com. Please do remember to rate and review this episode if you've enjoyed it, and also share it with a friend who you think might find it useful. Thank you again, and see you next week. Hello, if you're selling on Amazon or you're planning to and you'd like ongoing support as you go, I've just opened the doors to my membership, Amazon Made Easy. It's a space for product-based business owners who want expert guidance, somewhere to ask questions and a bit of structure and accountability while they build and grow on Amazon. Inside you'll get regular live Q&A calls with me, optional co-working sessions, practical resources and a supportive community of people all working on similar things. It's designed to make selling on Amazon feel clearer, simpler and much less overwhelming, and to give you somewhere to go where you're stuck or unsure of what to do next. You can join at any time and stay for as long as it's helpful. And if you'd like to take a look, you'll find the full link in the show notes.